everybody, this is Bernie from Stamp and Eat, and welcome to another Friday card making session with me. I hope you are all doing well and that you've had a great week. So in this week's card making session, I am going to be featuring this beautiful, cute as stamp set from the current Sale-a-Bration that is ending on the 31st of August. And this one is called the, I've got a braid there, Hippest Hippos. And it is free gift with purchase over, if you purchase, you'll get the stamp set for 110. If you purchase for over $110 New Zealand, excluding shipping, you can choose Hippest Hippo as your stamp, and it does come with matching dies, and they can be purchased as a separate $110 purchase. So you don't necessarily have to get the stamp, you can just get the dies. And I'm actually going to show you a card at the end of this video where I used just the dies to make a birthday card for our grandson last month. But if you want them both, then you will need to purchase for over $220 New Zealand. So let me set that to the side, and we are going to make this card. Now this card was inspired by Julie DeGuia, or Guia, I hope I pronounced her name correctly. She is another fellow demonstrator, and she made a card similar to this, different colors, and I just thought it was absolutely adorable. So I cased her card and made some changes, and we're going to I'm going to show you how I did that. In particular, the reason she made her card was to actually use these offcuts that come from the cracker die. Now let me get that for you. Let me just quickly pause and I'll go and fetch that. So the cracker and treat box die is in the annual catalog, and it comes like this, and it makes a little cracker, and you can make it longer by extending this, but it cuts out these hexagons, and that's where we get these bits of offcuts from. So I'm going to show you how to put this card together. Now for this one I used basic black cardstock. My regular measurements of 5.5 by 8.25 scored at 4 1/8, and I'm going to set that to the side. Then you're going to need some basic white cardstock. I cut it 1/4 inch smaller, but we're going to trim it down even further. So this measurement was 4 inches by 5.25, but we are going to use the paper trimmer to cut that back so that those strips don't all sort of stick out the end. So for this pattern, you're going to need 2 contrasting colors. I actually used the 6x6 piece of paper here within Granny Apple Green, and these were all cuts from the designer series paper Happier Than Happy. It's the one in the annual catalog, and it is adorable. It's got like little mushrooms on the other side, and then these little paw prints. And you are going to need 8, which I've already die cut because it's fussy cutting with a die cutter on steroids. I didn't want to cut out the whole cracker, I just wanted to cut out the hexagons. So just make sure you've got 8 of each color, contrasting colors that work together. 2, 4, 6, 7, oh yep, 8, perfect. And then you're also going to need, if you purchase the dies of the hippo, you're going to need these little flowers and I cut those out in Daffodil Delight. All right, so Tombow glue is what you're going to use, and I would suggest you use a plier, a tweezer, because it is going to get a little bit gluey, this particular card. So why don't we turn the color scheme a different way around, and let's start with green. So you need to apply Tombow on each of them, and you're going to come at an angle, and this is why you cut the what I did was I took this edge and the edge of that as my guide, and that's where I glued it. Now you'll notice on the side here I've already embossed this, and I've used the Splatters 3D embossing folder. On this one I used the Hive 3D embossing folder, so I just want to get a bit of a comparison and see how that looks. Okay, so that's going to come there. Now we're going to take the little flirty, oh no, it's not flirty flamingo, it's calypso coral. And just make sure that you're keeping the angle. Somehow I feel this is not right. Nope, we're going this way. I was just going to say, this is where your, when you were a kiddie, this is where your shape exercises come in, so that you can make sure you put your diamonds in the right direction. Okay, oopsie. Tombow is probably the better glue for this project, so that it doesn't, it gives you a little bit of wriggle worm. There's some beautiful freebies in this celebration, this for July and August. I really hope you've managed to get your hands on them before they run out. I've posted, I'm trying to think what day it was. Oh, I think it's coming up actually. I'm doing all my recordings ahead of time for August because I'm going to be out of the country. In fact, by the time you watch this video, I'm going to be out the country. So it feels a bit weird to be recording so far in advance. I sort of got to get my head around where I am in the calendar, what I'm planning, when I'm planning what, because let's just make sure this doesn't get stuck. Because like I say, I've been scheduling posts ahead of time and recording videos ahead of time, and it's been a lot of stuff I've been doing well, like 6 weeks, 8 weeks ahead of myself, just because I'm away. I'm going to be visiting my mum in South Africa. I'll be gone 3 weeks, but I'll be with her for 2. So I still wanted to make sure that I gave you some value for each week, and yeah, so busy doing this in the month of July for August. Crazy. So needless to say, what I was going to say is that you're going, by the time this is airing on YouTube Live, there's only about 2 or 3 weeks left of Sale-a-Bration. So I hope you've managed to get yourself some good deals. And if you are in New Zealand and you don't yet have a demonstrator, please feel free to click on the Shop With Me link below in the description. Bear in mind, you won't be able to click on that particular product. That will only be offered to you if you purchase for 110 New Zealand dollars, excluding excluding shipping, then it will give you the option of purchasing the hippo stamp or die, or both if your order is more than $220. Right, we're almost there. And the last one. So it's really those first two that get you going in the right pattern. Just make sure you put them in the right direction. And because these little calypso coral have a distinct pattern to them as well, I'm just making sure that they all face the same direction, otherwise it will look strange. Okay, fantastic. So I'm just going to give that a chance for the glue just to dry. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue my yellow strip down. So this is Daffodil Delight. You can use a piece of scrap. I simply used a 1/2 inch, and I went as long as what the white cardstock is. So in this case it was 5 1/4, but we're going to trim it. So just put it over the edge so that it creates its own natural border. And then I'm going to bring the paper trimmer over, and I'm going to show you how I cut this so that it isn't showing the white. Okay, so what we're aiming to do is I don't want that white poking out, and I don't want that white poking out. So I'm going to put it against there, and just going to slice it off ever so slightly. And if I look where that's on the grid, I can see that's about where it will be. Take that off. You do just want to wait for your glue to dry with this. Now there's not much sticking out there, but I am going to trim it down a fraction. Just so that it's looking better. Ah, that looks great. Okay, put that to the side. That's looking awesome. Okay, now the next thing I need to do is on a piece of basic white cardstock, I want to ink up my little hippo. And I've seen it in previous videos that I've made. I like to actually turn my Memento Black upside down. I just want to create some space for this little guy because I am going to use the die. So just hold it down just so that the ink is going in there nicely. And I'm going to use my stamping blends for this. I'm using light grey granite and dark grey granite. And I'm just going to come in here with the light. Alright, so you've got the idea. So I'm just going to want to show you on his body here how to shade it darker. So with the dark grey granites, I've just come in here on the edges of his body, and sort of here I'm going to go over where his tummy is and around his head, around his forehead. And then I'll just come back in and I'll just pull that through a little bit. So I'll just speed that up and come back once I've colored that. Okay, now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to die cut this. You could fussy cut it if you haven't got the dies. So this is the one that belongs to him. So I'm going to just go and fussy cut this. Okay, so I fussy cut him. I went a little bit wide on that side, but that's all right. Now I've created a circle using my layering circle dies. So I'm going to glue it onto there, and I've cut out another piece that matches with the designer series paper out of Granny Apple Green, and I'm going to glue that on there. And that is the beauty of using the layering circles dies, because they all fit absolutely perfectly. So I'm going to pop this little guy to the side so that there's space for a flower, and then I'm going to glue this, and instead of gluing this green onto my card, I'm actually going to pop it on dimensionals this time, but I'm just going to hold that down while I wait for the glue to dry slightly. The other one I glued down, but I want to see how it looks with dimensionals. So I'm just going to get my sharp tool and try not to hurt myself this time. I always seem to poke myself on video when I take it out. Okay, take off the backing paper, and I'm going to position this about over there. Awesome. Now with one of those flowers that I die cut out of Daffodil Delight, I'm just going to put a blob of glue, if I can get it out. Maybe I will do a glue dot instead. I seem to have the most temperamental glue when it's on camera. Off camera, it absolutely behaves itself. Okay, that's looking pretty. So now I'm going to position my flowers in the various positions that I want them. So I've got one there. Let's just give it a good shake. That's better. I'm going to put one there. I'll get a little one. Just pop it there. We're going to put one on the where the hexagons join. Perfect. And then I took the liberty of stamping my sentiment already and die cutting it in Calypso Coral. Now I used the Sending Smiles sentiment for this. You can use any sentiment you want, but I just figured it was going to be a nice fun sentiment, and it said smiles across the miles. It's cute. I think that one's off. So I'm going to pop this one about over here, and then I'm going to add my last flower. I keep forgetting to check that I'm in the camera. Last flower over here. I think over there, over there, over there, over there. Alrighty. Now the next thing we're going to do is add some bling. So I am using the solid faceted gems, and I am guessing this looks like it could be Pool Party. They've got some gorgeous, if I shine them in the light here, they've got some beautiful definition. So I figured the blue and the yellow all just toned in so well. Pop that one there, and we'll do that one there. So we'll take that out the way. And then lastly, I want to add some gems over here, just so that you're not noticing the joins, although those joins are pretty darn good. I think yeah, I might still do it. For this one, I've decided to use a retired gems just because I had them. The evening evergreen ones. I just wanted something a bit darker. So let's see how this works. Pop that there. Oops, that's a bit off center. Cool. And I might just pop that one there, seeing as we've got the flower over here, which we didn't have for that one. And then all that's left now is for me to glue this onto the black cardstock. And then our card is done. So that will go there. When you're gluing down something that's embossed, just make sure you just run your fingers over it, because obviously it's got to go in all those grooves. And there we have the most adorable little card. So I actually really like it with the hippo raised. So that's the hippo raised and that's it flat. And does it make a difference? To be honest, I actually like the pink because I was able to match the direction of that paper perfectly. Look at that. So it really lends itself, even though that paper, yeah, that's weird. It's both the same, but I think I made an effort with this one to face it in the same direction. And also the green starts, whereas the pink starts there. So those are two cards using the stamp and the die. And then I want to show you, if I move those to the side, that you don't have to buy the stamp if you don't want. So this is a birthday card that I have made in anticipation of our grandson's birthday coming up in July, and I simply used the dies. Again, this card was inspired. It's not my own creation. I'm just a bit lazy at the moment, but I just wanted to show you that you can do that. So I used my right markers, Stampin' Up! Right markers in the background to color that in, and I die cut each of the dies that correspond, and then used the same right markers to make the dots. And yeah, just a really, really adorable card. So that's also something that you can use, featuring the same Sale-a-Bration hippo set. So there we have it. We've got our hippos and they look adorable. Tell me, which one do you like? Do you prefer the one starting with green, or do you prefer the one starting with pink? Do you like the hippo raised, or do you like the hippo flat? Pop a comment below. And also thank you so much. Thank you so much for everybody that has been liking and subscribing. I am getting closer and closer to my goals. So please keep liking and subscribing if you're watching this for the first time. So that's me. That's Friday card making session with me. Go out, have fun this weekend, do some stamping, and remember to give your cards away. And until we meet again, remember, stamp, eat, sleep, repeat. Bye.